What is up, you guys? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, coming at you guys with Dallas Stewart. And happy scheduled release day, guys. Dallas, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yep, back as usual, but through the power of the speaker phone. I know I'd like to have Dallas in person, but we just wanted to do it this way again. But we are here again to react to the Seahawks 2023 schedule and which opponents we will be playing in order of that schedule. Should be a tough year, but I'm anxious to see how we looked with our draft class, and let's see what we got here for the 2000 and let's see what we got for the Seahawks 2023 schedule. In the preseason, though, it looks like we will be playing the Cowboys, and we will also be playing the Minnesota Vikings at home. The dates are to be determined. Personally, I'm hoping they're both on Saturdays, so that way, I don't have to use a PTO.
Yeah, you like Saturday preseason games.
Yeah, a lot better than preseason games that are on the weekdays. That's for sure. So we got Minnesota, Dallas, and Green Bay. Just for the 3 weeks of our preseason games, we play Green Bay in Lambeau Field. And then just for week one, they start us out taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The only difference is this time compared to the last two times that we faced them, this time they will have their quarterback. But the Rams have taken some pretty tough hits during the free agency, and they made some moves cutting certain players. Like they cut Bobby Wagner, and now Bobby Wagner is obviously back with us in Seahawks uniform. Seahawks obviously also restructured Tyler Lockett's contract, from what I also heard too, but not really surprised that they're going to put the Rams first in our schedule. And it's the home opener in Seattle. So we get the Los Angeles Rams first. They're going to have Aaron Donald back. They're going to have Cooper Kupp back on their offense. They're going to have Stafford back. We know they're going to be coming in very healthy. And the Rams have given us a lot of problems in the past. We almost lost them twice, even when they were injury riddled, but yet we still managed to find a way to pull out the wins, especially the one in LA.
Interesting game, right?
Yeah.
The season begins the same way the regular season ended last year.
Yep. With us taking
the Rams at home.
Yeah, and the only difference is no more Jalen Ramsey. So DK Metcalf and better have a freaking field day against that secondary. Same with Tyler Lockett. And, of course, the new addition of Jackson Smith and Najigba, which I could not wait to see what he does and see how these rookies look in the preseason.
The Rams have a little bit of a bounce-back season after they were just riddled with injuries last year.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man.
Last year.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I agree. And then to start off week 2, we are going back to Detroit. We all remember what happened last year in Detroit, the epic shootout between Geno Smith and Jared Goff. The Lions, I'll tell you what, looked bad in the beginning of last year, but then came on pretty good, just because, and it all came back to that tiebreaker when Tariq Woolen's pick 6, which was the decision maker. But, this Detroit team cannot be taken lightly. Granted, I know they did lose Jamal Williams, and then they traded DeAndre Swift to Philadelphia after drafting that running back Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama, which should be a pretty solid addition. And I know the Lions have some suspensions. I think Jamison Williams got suspended for the gambling thing too, but he's only out for 6 games. So Detroit Lions again in Ford Field. I know Greg and Kenny will be going to that game, a couple of friends of mine. So we'll see what happens this go around.
Game. It could be a game where the year could really determine a lot.
Yeah, but how different will it be this time around? Because we know Detroit is going to be tough, especially with how they swept the Packers last year, and they played the spoiler. Granted, they could have freaking flopped that game in the final week of regular season, which was the reason we made the playoffs last year, was because of them deciding to play the spoiler. But Jamal Williams out, DeAndre Swift out, and now they got Jahmyr Gibbs, which will be interesting to see what he does and see the other additions of what Detroit did in the draft and who they signed in free agency. It'll be interesting. They even got freaking C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the former Philadelphia Eagle.
Should be. I'm expecting another great game between them.
All right, and then up next week.
Last year.
Yep, and up next we got week 3, Carolina Panthers. We laid that absolute egg against them last year, but this time around it's Bryce Young, the #1 pick in the draft, coming out here with his new head coach, Frank Reich. Panthers added Adam Thielen during the offseason too in free agency. So Carolina would be interesting to watch too with the moves they made. And Frank Reich, he's a good quarterback whisperer. I know it didn't end well with him in Indianapolis, but granted, I still think he got a pretty solid year out of Phillip Rivers in his last year with Indianapolis. It'll be interesting to see what he does with Bryce Young in his rookie year.
Yeah, this is a game where I definitely want to get revenge for that egg we laid in December of last year.
Oh,
Introduce Bryce Young to the 12th man.
yeah. But hopefully our secondary can do better. Hopefully Geno doesn't turn the ball over early like he did.
Team heading into this season.
Yeah, new quarterback, drafted #1 overall. Last time they did that, Cam Newton, obviously in 2011, but now it's Bryce Young out of Alabama. And
it's off season.
Yep, I'm actually anxious to see what Frank Reich does with this team, but I'm also
for us
probably early
game.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a trap game last year. Could be another trap game. Detroit could possibly be a trap game too. Rams probably. It could be a tough start for us, but we'll see how we look. I like the moves that we made too. So we won't know until they start playing the games. Week 4, our first of 3 primetime games. We got a Monday Night Football game at MetLife Stadium when the Seahawks go over to take on the New York Giants. We all saw what happened last year. We freaking ran all over them with Kenneth Walker, and Lockett struggled, but then had that big touchdown to redeem himself, and we ultimately pulled away. And then the only flaw in that game was when Lockett had the fumble, and then the only touchdown Saquon Barkley scored for them. But other than that, last time around we played the Giants, we freaking did a hell of a job shutting down Saquon Barkley and limiting him. He didn't really do much except for the touchdown, which was cashed in due to the Lockett fumble. But now the New York Giants, it was close for a little while, and then we were like tied and like close to during the first half, and then we later just pulled away with the Lockett touchdown and the Kenneth Walker one to pretty much seal the deal for that 14-point win.
Their second loss last year, and they were really having in here, and shut them down, and it was one of our best wins of the season.
Yeah, they overlooked us in that game, but now pretty much they got a new target, Darren Waller, for Daniel Jones, a former Raider tight end, now with the New York Giants, and Brian Daboll coming off of a Coach of the Year win last year with the New York Giants. They went into Minnesota and pretty much took down the Vikings with ease. And still I'm anxious to see what they do, but I'm still never going to overlook this Giants team because they were in the playoffs last year, and this was one of our wins of the year for sure last year. That was a great win when the way we just rolled them in Seattle. Go ahead, Dallas. Yep. All right, week 6, Cincinnati Bengals. I could potentially see this being a loss because they got the trio of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and freaking Tyler Boyd. They got a freaking, they're going to be poised to get back to the AFC Championship, especially after the way that they laid that egg against the Kansas City Chiefs, and of course the costly penalty which put the Chiefs in field goal range to pretty much have Butker kick them into the Super Bowl and on their way to their 3rd Lombardi trophy for the Chiefs. And you pretty much know the Chiefs that loss for the Bengals is going to be the fire to their season, and they're going to be tough. I could definitely see this as a loss, just saying. But we're on the road at Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's week 1 scooper in 2019.
Yeah,
and it's going to be tough for us.
Yeah. I remember that week 1 game in 2018 as well, man. That was a tough one. Week 7, Cardinals come to Seattle. Again, we swept their asses last time. And, I think, for Arizona, they definitely have taken a major step back. Kyler Murray obviously going to be coming off of a torn ACL. And they got that offensive lineman that he's been raving about. But, the Cardinals, I think it's, for them, I'm still never going to overlook them, but I still think they're going to be finishing last again in this division. I think we can roll Arizona again, just like we did last year.
Yeah. Last
Then up next, week 8, we got week 8, we got the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns come to Seattle. First time taking on the Browns since we took on and pulled that comeback against Baker Mayfield back in 2019. That crazy ass game with how far back we were behind, and then the turnovers we forced and the way we clawed back. And I think it was Jerron Brown that had the 2 touchdowns for the Seahawks from Russell Wilson in that game too. But taking on Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, or I don't know if the Kareem Hunt's still on the team, but Cleveland Browns, still not going to overlook them. I'm anxious to see how they look this year. If Deshaun Watson shook off the rust of not playing for over, how long has it been since Deshaun Watson played? We know he had the suspension last year for a while, but let's see if it'll be interesting to see if Watson truly shook off the rust. Yeah, Dallas. Technical difficulties. But anyway, you think you might want to get out to your car really quick, Dallas? That way, see if we can get the connection going good. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, though, we got the Cleveland Browns in week 8 at home. Then week 9, we travel. Oh, yeah, our bye week is week 5 after the Monday night game against New York. So pretty early bye week for the Hawks this year. Week 9, we travel to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens obviously re-signed Lamar Jackson, and they have a pretty stout receiving core. They got Odell Beckham Jr. did the offseason. They drafted Zay Flowers out of Boston College, trying to make Lamar Jackson happy and give him some targets. And Lamar Jackson said he wants to pass for 4,000 yards. But the question is, will he be healthy coming up to week 9, or could there be a potential that he gets hurt again? Don't want to jinx it for him because you don't want to see anybody get hurt. But can Lamar Jackson stay healthy?
Yeah, this will be another tough road game for us. First time we played Baltimore since we laid that egg in 2019.
And Lamar Jackson ran all over us. Started with that Marcus Peters pick 6 of Russell Wilson. I remember that one. I was so frustrated at that one with the way that we freaking laid that egg against them, and just the way Lamar Jackson killed us with his feet. Got to contain those gaps against him. But yeah, thoughts on the bye week being early this year, Dallas?
Yeah, it's pretty early. Yeah, it's pretty early, but maybe it'll be to their benefit.
Yeah, I'm going to the game, and I'm going to be trying to go to the game in New York this year. So if I do, I'll tell you what, it's going to be one red zone reaction short, and we have to wait for you and me to do it week 5. But I am going to try to do a red zone reactions from a bar in New York City if I go to that game. I'll try to definitely do it, even if it's just me. So definitely keep your phone on you, so that way you can call in, and just we can react to some of those games going on. Like just
red zone reaction will be during the bye week in week 5.
Yeah, and then the other ones will come after the Thursday games. Yep. So obviously Baltimore now. Then after that, Washington Commanders come to Seattle. Chase Young's going to be back 100%. And who's going to be the Commanders quarterback?
That remains a mystery. I'm not sure what they're doing at the quarterback position, but definitely would like some revenge for losing that Monday night game in 2021.
Yeah. And then week 11, go down to SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams down in LA for round 2. Let's see if the Rams, I think the Rams kind of still give us problems, even though they did kind of take a step back with who all they released and let go of. And, and then obviously when we saw who they drafted Stetson Bennett late. And let's see if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy all this season. And what do you think, though? I mean, obviously,
tough one. It took a game-winning drive last year in LA to beat them.
And DK Metcalf catching the game winner on Jalen Ramsey all over him too.
Were the Rams starting Wolford?
Yeah, they were starting Wolford. And then the second game in Seattle, they had Baker Mayfield.
Yep. Both of them, they gave us all they had last year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We barely escaped twice.
Now, this one I never imagined would ever happen, but let's be real. Are we really surprised that they decided to make this game Seahawks versus 49ers. And the first time ever, the Seahawks are hosting a Thanksgiving game, a Thanksgiving night game in Seattle. I never imagined in a million years that we would ever be hosting a Thanksgiving game. You saw my reaction to that for the rumors of it, and it's official. It's real. The Seahawks are playing the 49ers in Seattle on Thanksgiving. We know the 49ers are still going to be the top dog of the NFC West, obviously. Shout out to CG Ruthless 49er Talk. Give me your thoughts later on this. We're definitely going to be going live earlier in the week to talk about this upcoming matchup between us on Thanksgiving. Who would have ever thought? We all know what happened last time we played the 49ers on Thanksgiving. It was down in 2014, down in Levi Stadium, our very first game in Levi Stadium. Richard Sherman picking off Kaepernick twice. Wilson throwing the dump-off touchdown pass to Robert Turbin. And we went back-to-back weeks winning 19-3 because we beat the Cardinals the week before that, 19-3 in Seattle. And then we went to San Francisco, Santa Clara, and won our very first game at Levi Stadium, 19-3. And then, of course, the infamous moment where Russell Wilson and Richard Sherman were eating the Thanksgiving turkey on the 49ers logo on their 50-yard line. You remember that? Yeah. The question is now, I mean, obviously, I'm still not sleeping on San Francisco. Greta, I do think the quarterback position will be what holds them back this year, whether it be Sam Darnold or Trey Lance. We know Brock Purdy's going to be out because of the injury he took in the NFC Championship, but who knows when he'll be back. But they still, obviously, they added Javon Hargrave from Philadelphia during the offseason, so they're going to have a three-headed monster with him, Bosa, and Eric Armstead. So they're still going to have that beast defense. And, of course, Deebo Samuel on the offense. We'll see if Darnold's going to start or if it's going to be Trey Lance. Lots of question marks I got about San Francisco, but I still feel like they're still the top dog in the NFC West for sure. But the question is, if we lose that game, will they try to pretty much do the turkey dinner on our logo on the 50 if they were to beat us? I would not be surprised if they did, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in this game and see how much, if we did enough to try to catch back up to them in this draft. And I hope Devin Witherspoon is ready to hang with some of these guys that we're going to be facing, man, and make some hits. Him with Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant and Julian Love and Quandre Diggs, and us obviously getting Jamal Adams back. Hopefully he can freaking play a full season this year. But what do you think for this one, being on Thanksgiving and taking on the Niners?
Yeah, it's a big time game in prime time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, but what's your thoughts of us hosting a game on Thanksgiving, though?
I think it's good. A home crowd. A big time for us to shine.
Hopefully. I mean, granted, it's going to be against a tough-ass Niners.
So. Tough game.
Then the week after that, we play another Thursday game against the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. I wanted to go to that stadium. I know my dad was talking about wanting to go there, but, it's like back-to-back Thursday night games. That's 3 games in 12 days. That's pretty tough, man.
Yeah, that's a tough stretch. It's going to be a tough stretch right there.
Obviously, no more Zeke Elliott in Dallas. They released them, and they signed Ronald Jones. I saw for one of their signings. They signed the former Buccaneer, former Chief running back. But Dallas Cowboys, granted, they got smoked in their playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas is always a mystery every freaking year.
Yeah, Dallas, it was another disappointing end to their season as they failed to reach the NFC Championship game again. I still expect them to be favored. I still expect them to be a contender in the NFC for at least a wild card spot.
Yeah, because Philly's going to be the top dog in the NFC East, though.
It's going to be good, in my opinion. We might get 3 teams in again.
Yeah.
In that division. Then
after that, week 14, we go down to Levi's to take on the 49ers after that. So 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, we got San Fran again down in Levi's. Yeah. Week 15, we take on
week 14, we all know what happened last year in San Francisco in the regular season. We laid that egg in week 2.
Yep, turnovers costed us. And then, week 15, we get the defending NFC champions. They added a lot on defense, basically going all out on Georgia players. They got Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round.
They lost some players on defense, though.
Yeah, they did lose some players. They lost Hargrave. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, which Gardner-Johnson went to Detroit. they
Sanders on offense.
Yeah, to Carolina Panthers. So we're going to be taking on Miles Sanders in week 3 with the Carolina Panthers. So that's going to be tough. They got Rashad Penny during the offseason. They traded for DeAndre Swift. They still got Kenneth Gainwell, as Chris Berman says. He gains well.
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
This is going to be the toughest games of the entire regular season, in my opinion.
And we haven't lost to Philadelphia since 2008.
Yeah, I think that's in jeopardy this season.
Yeah, we might lose the winning streak over Philadelphia this year.
Yeah, Philadelphia was in 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020, and we barely won. Yeah, we barely won that game too.
Beat them in the 2019 wild card.
Yeah, 17-9. We beat them twice, 17-9 in 2019. But yeah, Philly's going to be a tough one. I could potentially see that as a loss. So, and then Christmas Eve, we got the Tennessee Titans on the road in Nashville. Thank God I got to stay home for Christmas again. So, Derrick Henry, we'll see how he goes. Tennessee Titans, lots of question marks. They drafted Will Levis in the 2nd round. I'm anxious to see what Tennessee does this year too.
Their season went down the drain.
The question is, will the question is, will Ryan Tannehill be healthy at this time this year, or will
I do want some revenge for 2021 losing to him in overtime.
Oh yeah, and blowing that lead for sure. But here's the question. Obviously, Derrick Henry, we know he's still going to be we know he's a beast. He's still going to be tough to bring down. He gave us hell last time we played him. And Tannehill, well, let's see if he even stays healthy up to this point, and if Will Levis potentially takes his spot. So, because I'm anxious to see what the Titans do with Will Levis, and see what Will Levis does in the preseason if he does enough to possibly take the starting job, or see if he has the potential to at least do it. Week 17, we got our last home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. We got to take on Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, and obviously they got Joey Porter Jr. in the 2nd round. Some interesting moves. They traded with the Patriots to get that one offensive lineman. Bill Belichick made that move so the Pittsburgh Steelers could jump ahead and take a key player that the New York Jets wanted, from what I heard from Bill Belichick, wanting to piss off the Jets even more. But yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, Dana, we just lost Dallas. I'm going to try to get him back in again really quick. So yeah, we got Pittsburgh Steelers in week 17, and then obviously week 18 we go down to Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. It says to be determined, so we don't really know the date of that. I have a feeling it's got to be a Sunday. Week 18, all the last of the final games of the regular season are usually on a Sunday, especially in week 18. So Arizona Cardinals to end the 2023 regular season, just like when we ended the 2021 regular season, or our 2021 season, when we went down there and played the spoiler and stopped them from winning the division. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, that's me and Dallas's reaction to the schedule. Having a hard time getting back a hold of Dallas. So yep, that's our schedule right there. So let's be ready for it, 12s. It's going to be very interesting, and drop your thoughts down in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll be back to you later. Sorry, Dallas couldn't quite finish on that, because I wish I would have had him over, but it's like we all got work the next day, and freaking just our phone service, but it's all right. So anyway, catch y'all later. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. And as always, go Seahawks.